Watching Rogers TV.
Welcome to Daytime Auto. You know you're doing something right when your guest to kick off the show is actually humming the theme song of Daytime Ottawa, my friends. We have a great show for you. I'm going to dive right into our first segment because we've already been talking about it before the show, and that is food waste and what a poor job we are doing globally and, of course, here in Canada as well. Miriam Pearl is recipe developer and founder of Delicious Without Gluten. Welcome back. Great to have you here.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Food waste. So you sent this to me, and you're like, what do you think of this idea? I was like, yes, please, let's talk about it, because the statistics are outrageous, right? And how much waste that we have.
I sent you some stats.
You did.
I really feel like this, people just don't have any clue. And so I know people are not going to care that much about greenhouse emissions and, trying to save the planet. But I'm hoping that with some of these facts and some of the things that we can do today, will help people to sort of, get some of that waste out of there.
Yeah, and sometimes it has to be more personal for people to make a change, right? And by personal, we're talking about affordability, and prices of everything has gone up.
Everything has gone up, but like in my gluten-free world, everything is super more expensive than it normally is. And people love when there's like a new product out. The first thing they do is they run to the store and they go, oh, I gotta try this new product.
Right.
And then they hate it. And then they just throw it out. It either too dry, too this, not what they expected, has an aftertaste, something.
Right.
And so in gluten-free world, you don't really want to waste that bread that you don't like.
No.
And you don't want to,
it's probably like $8 or $9 a loaf, right? For some gluten-free bread.
Yes, and could even be higher.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So depending on the specialty, if you're buying it fresh or you're buying it frozen in the freezer, and a lot of things go bad easily.
Yeah.
So we have to learn new ways how to save and how to recycle our food, and that's what I want to talk about today.
All right, so you sent me these facts. I'm going to share some of these facts with everybody at home just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. So globally, 1.3 billion, that's billion tons, okay, of edible food wasted or lost every year. Canadians create over 50 million of that, 50 million tons of food waste every year, despite 60% of it being avoidable, right?
Completely.
And that's probably like the fruits and vegetables and things like that we probably buy too much of.
Bad planning,
yeah.
A lot of waste. You were just mentioning Costco.
Yeah.
People go to Costco, there are 2 people in the family, they have tons of food. So what do? You go to the store, you buy a nice thing, it's on sale, and raspberries go bad really, really easily.
Really quickly,
You know, if you see them going bad, cut away from them, put them in the freezer.
Yeah.
You can do that with bananas. You have so many bananas. I always have you peel the banana first, you mash it up, you put it into the fridge, find a recipe that has mashed bananas in it.
Well, that's a great idea doing that, because I think, that's again planning, right? Because if you put the whole banana in, we've all seen it, right? I've gone to family members' freezers, and you open it to grab a popsicle, and there's 8 bananas that have been there for probably a year and a half, right?
Peel them first. Put them in a plastic bag, and then away they go. And you do the same thing. You can take strawberries that are going bad, peel away from them, slice them, put them into the freezer, or just whole, stick them in the freezer first, and then gather them in plastic bags. I often have bags in my freezer of things that I waste.
Right.
Now this is at home. I do a lot of waste at work. So I've learned how to recycle at work, and then I bring it back home, which is what I want to share with your viewers, that when something is being cut away from, or you have an extra muffin or something, you can just put it in a bag and stick it all in the freezer, because in that moment you're really busy. You don't really want to stop what you're doing, and you're not going to take this amount of bread and put it in crumbs right away.
Right, yes.
You're going to gather a whole bunch of stuff and put it in the freezer, and then when you're ready, that's when you're going to go and start, making different things, which I'll show you about.
Right. I love that idea, because, as you said, when you're busy in the moment, sometimes it goes in the garbage, right? Or it gets left out on the counter, it goes bad, and then, of course, the green bin idea, I think, is a brilliant idea. But we shouldn't be having to use it as often as people are using it.
We could give things away.
Yeah.
We can donate. We can certainly try to recycle what we can. Most of my stuff goes in a freezer. and then I deal with it when I deal with it. So if everybody could sort of learn how to, even if it's an apple and you want to cut up the apple, frozen apples, you make an apple pie one day.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to make, everyone's gathering their apples now, and then they brought so many apples, and then all of a sudden they're going bad because they didn't have time that they planned for to make their apple cake.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they don't know what to do. We'll just cut them up and freeze them.
As you said, a pie later, an applesauce
when
or something.
you have the time.
And the reason we're saying this too, some of those stats that I shared with you at home is that 40% of all of that 50 million tons that Canadians waste, 40% of that is household.
Yes.
Right? That is household waste.
Exactly.
So we can do our part very easily.
Exactly.
Right? What do you want to do? Do you want to start doing something here?
Yeah, I'm going to show you a little bit of what we're doing because, like I said, I always have my handy-dandy bag of bread that I accumulate.
Right.
Okay, this one is actually like a challah bread, a brioche, so I'm going to make French toast out of that.
Nice.
But this weekend, we celebrated my father's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday to your father. Nice.
And so I made some, and this was a little extra one, we made some bread pudding.
Okay.
And I put like caramel on the bottom,
good,
and then so we soak it with eggs. Whenever you have bread, you can revive it.
Right.
You can soak it with eggs, and it's very good. And then, of course, when I have too much bread and it's like the kind that I don't want or whatever, I put it in the oven. So what you do is you take your bread and you line them up, or whatever pieces you have. The smaller the bread, you want them all about equal size, because then some of them are going to get brown, some are not.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
And you put them in the oven like about 300 degrees, maybe 15 minutes. They have to be completely dry. If you pick one of these up, you'll see if you try to put your nail inside, it's just really hard.
Yeah.
You know those toasts that you buy?
Yeah. I remember like my grandparents used to buy them all the time. Yeah, the mini toast.
You could use them even like this.
For sure.
Right? I put a piece of cheese on top and it's good to go.
Yeah.
But what I do is I just take all my breadcrumbs, no matter like what kind of bread it is, and I stick it inside a food processor.
Okay.
And they're very easy. It has a blade attachment.
I know what
and it's very easy to do. And you can grind it as much as you want. It's going to make a little noise. And once it's gone like that, I stick them over here.
So you're just making homemade breadcrumbs instead of buying it from the store in a bag.
Exactly.
That's a great idea.
So if you actually have your bag in the freezer, you don't want to start to put them in the pan there. You want to first get them dry. So take them out overnight.
Okay.
And leave them to sort of dry up.
Yeah.
And then the next day you can start to
in the oven. 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you're going to do them in here, you have to make sure that they are completely cold. So I don't even touch them on that day.
Okay.
I will use a cookie. I will do a cookie, like a donut. What do you call it? With a mesh or something, so that it doesn't
I know what you mean.
Doesn't get soggy on the other side.
To keep it up.
Exactly.
Right.
And then really the best thing is once it's completely cold, then you can crush them. Why? Because if they have a little bit of moisture in it, it won't be shelf stable and you won't be able to keep it out.
It'll be too much moisture in there, and then you'll have this big brick.
Exactly.
Right, instead of this nice crumble. Hey, we've got another segment with Miriam. You're probably looking and going, wow, there's all this stuff. You guys haven't touched on it. Don't worry. She's back for another segment. We'll be back with Miriam Pearl from Delicious Without Gluten right after this.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
Kids these days, people say we lack initiative.
And technology, that we're all addicted.
Kids these days, we hear that we only care about ourselves.
Apparently, we're lazy.
and don't seem to have any sense of independence.
Actually, kids these days are facing a lot because the world has changed, and so have our health issues. Kids these days, we could really use your help. Join CHIO in our biggest fundraising campaign ever to transform pediatric care.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Eastboro Designs. Eastboro Designs, designing a bold lifestyle through functionality and beauty.
Welcome back to the show. I'm telling you, this crew is giving me a hard time today. And I'm talking to you, Ken. I'm pointing right at his camera. We are back with Miriam Pearl from Delicious Without Gluten, and we're talking about, reusing things. So we talked about the breadcrumbs, and you were saying we could even freeze these if we had to?
So sometimes you can leave them outside. It'll last for like a year. If you don't have that moisture inside, it'll be really good. But some people really like to keep their breadcrumbs in the freezer.
Right.
So you can actually store them for like a long time in the freezer if your freezer is good. But when you take them out, make sure that you dry them out again. Because if you're going to keep them back out, they'll get moisture again.
Right.
So just a little note there.
Okay, I love it. What else have you got here? What do we want to tackle here?
From the bread, we also can make croutons, right? So so this is the breadcrumbs. What I did was I took some fresh bread that was like this in my little bag. Again, I would do the same thing. I cut them in cubes. You can cut them in any size as long as they're approximately the same way. And then you just sort of drizzle a little olive oil or whatever oil you want.
Wait till I introduce you to the olive oil you're going to see on the show later today from Mike George.
This one has
gonna blow your
basil infusion.
Okay.
But it's just really fun, just to like whatever you like, and you just kind of, and you can use rosemary, garlic powder, you can put in some salt. And the fun thing about your own breadcrumbs is that you can actually season them. Let's say you have a problem and you don't want salt.
Right, absolutely.
You make your own breadcrumbs. You put them in the oven. It's like 15 to 30 minutes, depending on how large they are and how dry they are.
Right.
Again, they should be quite hard and not be able to put your your nail through.
Yeah, and I mean, it's preference too, right? I know some people that do it, with a lot of crunch, and some people with just a little bit less crunch.
The more oil you have, and also you can get crunchy.
Right.
But if you're making them fresh, who cares?
Right.
I'm talking if you want to keep them for a long period of time.
Makes sense.
If they're a little bit wet, that's it.
Again,
it'll get molded.
Okay.
We do the same thing with bagels. Okay, so I basically took the bagel and I put them in very thin slices.
Nice.
You drizzle some oil, again, whatever seasonings you want. Sometimes I like to do everything, spices and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you put them in the oven, and then they're like hard.
Now you've got
chips.
crisps.
And these are amazing. You can just, I keep them around all the time whenever someone wants like a hummus or whatever.
Yeah.
We don't have that many crackers in the gluten-free world. They're all
really,
like with flax seeds and whatever.
So are these bagels that you make yourself?
Yeah, we make them at work. Our bread's
nice.
from work. We do the breadcrumbs at work too, but I'm just, I want everybody who is coming home with stuff that, is not so great.
Yeah, we're talking about food waste here today. Yeah.
So you could do that with pita bread, you could do that with bagels, you could do that with everything.
Okay.
So now we're going to switch over to sweets.
All right.
So I brought here a little cake. That's the cake that I usually make in Passover. It's called that tiramisu-ish, remember?
So good, man.
So the bottom is brownies. Now, we have pieces, when you make brownie pan, and some people like the edges, some people don't.
Right.
Sometimes we cut away from them. But these brownie pieces, I keep in a bag. Okay. And I use them for crust.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So how do I revive them? I take them, I stick them on the bottom of a pan.
Okay.
I press them with some coffee syrup.
Nice.
And then it gets nice and moist, and you've got a really nice bottom.
Right, you're bringing the moisture back into
Exactly.
it, right, to have
And
that nice brownie texture.
All you have to do is press them down with that and pour the oil on them.
Yeah.
Sorry, the coffee.
The coffee, yeah.
And this is just simple syrup. So it's like 1 cup of liquid to 1 cup of sugar. You boil it a little bit, and just until the sugar dissolves.
Nice.
And when I'm making coffee flavor, I just like make a cup of coffee, which is the liquid.
Yeah.
And then I can put the sugar and do
just
that.
boil it
and then
down
you
from
keep it in
there.
the fridge.
Okay.
And so you have the brownie bottom, and then these are from an old cake.
Right, because you're probably cutting away because you want to ice it really nicely instead of the bumps. Yeah.
You have a brunch, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you have all this leftover stuff, and you're gonna like put it in the garbage or in the recycling.
Right.
So save it. I end up just making layers with whipped cream, and then I use my coffee syrup in between and stick on some whipped cream on top. And here I took the brownie pieces and put them on the top.
Nice. Nice.
And then you have cookies.
Okay,
Everybody has
I wanted you to bring this up
cookies.
because this, I think, is one of the more difficult. The cake idea, I think a lot of people get, but the cookie idea, what have you done here? Not so much. Yeah.
I take these cookies, I stick them inside the food processor, and I get crumbs. Okay?
Okay.
So how do you make a pie crust? You basically put the crumbs inside here, and you add melted butter. That's
you're
the
ready to go, and
entire
that's
thing.
it.
And then you put some melted butter in it, you mix it all up, and you press it on the sides, and you're finished. It's no bake.
Right, oh yeah, exactly.
It's easy.
Okay.
So we have also here some cake pops. So when you have extra cake, this was a cake. I crumbled it up in my handy dandy.
Yeah.
And then after that, I added some of my buttercream. Which is over here.
Yeah.
I mix it up until it all forms into a dough. I have my dough over here. I take the dough and I make balls out of it.
And now you've got a cake pop.
And now I have the base for the cake pop.
Right.
And then after I have my balls, I dip this in with a stick or not a stick. This is in chocolate. So these are
these
the
ones
cake.
you've done.
Yes.
So that is the cake. Wow.
Yes, that's cake inside. And so you can make cake pops. You know, like a lot of caterers, they do rum balls from the ends of cakes and stuff like
absolutely.
that. It's the same concept. And the idea is to make sure that you have as many like uses for whatever you have.
Right.
We do a bûche Noël, which is a Christmas log.
Oh, I love
and
Christmas log.
We always cut off the ends to make them look nice, so you see the nice round swirl.
Yeah.
And I collect them, and then I make like a trifle, and I layer them with some strawberries or raspberries and whipping cream.
That you've again been in your freezer and you just take them out a couple hours before you're ready to go. I just want to go back to the breadcrumbs quickly too. So look what you did with the breadcrumbs up here, right? Are these like chicken strips?
Yeah, these are schnitzel, we call them.
Oh, schnitzels. Yeah. Okay, nice.
And you could do that with fish. You could do that with chicken. You could do that with veal, whatever you have.
Right.
And I have I have the recipe for tiramisu. I have the recipe for the breadcrumbs and the crouton. I have everything, even the cake pops, on my website.
Okay.
But this over here as well, you'll see, some people don't season their breadcrumbs well. So I gave this recipe using steak spice, cumin, granulated garlic, onion powder, oregano, thyme. It's
Deliciouswithout.com to find these recipes and much more. We'll be back with more Daytime right after this.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
With Rogers TV, you can cheer on the home team from the comfort of your living room. We'll head to the rink, the field, the court, or the pitch, so you don't have to. Tune in and cheer on your local amateur athletes on Rogers TV.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Eastboro Designs. Eastboro Designs, designing a bold lifestyle through functionality and beauty.
Well, guess who's about to steal the show, eh? Oh, we got 3 of them in studio today. You've heard that term, it takes a village. Well, it does take a village to help out when it comes to fostering and adoption. And I am joined by foster coordinator of It Takes a Village Dog Rescue, Marie-Claude Boilly, and Krista Jones is the director of foster relations. Welcome to you both. Great to have you here. Marie-Claude, tell me a little bit about the story behind It Takes a Village.
Well, it was founded in 2021, so we're approaching our 3rd anniversary in December.
Okay.
We are a registered charity, so we have to follow the guidelines and rules of the Charity Commission. Any government workers who are the United Way campaign is going on now, so that's a good way to donate to us through that at the same time. We're 100% volunteer, so we're both volunteers. Anybody from the team is a volunteer. And we're 100% foster based, which means all these dogs, when they're in care with us, they are in a home being taken care of. There's no center.
Well, I guess we should introduce our special guest here on the show today. So who am I holding here, Marie-Claude?
So this is Mishka. He's about 6-week-old male from Iqaluit. This is Kinuki. She's about 3 months old, also from Iqaluit.
And this is Joy. She's about a year old, and she came into care with 6 puppies, and she's from Iqaluit as well.
Wow, 6 puppies. So how many dogs would be in your care at any given time?
Right now we have about 79.
79. Oh my goodness. So what brought you, Marie-Claude, to It Takes a Village? Why did you want to get involved?
Well, a few years ago, they were saving some dogs from the Manitoba wildfires.
Okay.
And they were recruiting fosters because we need a foster to be able to commit to saving one of the dog's lives. So I committed to become a foster, so they were able to save an extra dog, and I ended up keeping that wonderful little Starlight.
Nice. Excellent.
And that happens sometimes.
Yeah, of course, of course. Krista, how about yourself? What brought you to It Takes a Village?
I had rescued a dog about 10 years ago from just off of an ad online.
Okay.
And she had passed away, so I wanted to be able to give back and be able to foster dogs that were coming from bad situations.
Oh my goodness, I know you're excited. So what is, tell me about the fostering process, Marie-Claude. If somebody's watching here today, what does that look like?
So let's say, for example, you want to foster, you complete the application online. Then Krista and I will review the application. We'll have a phone call with you to explain more how it works and to answer any questions. One of our teams will do the reference check, the virtual home visit check, and then we set up some messenger chat because all the communications with our fosters is done via Facebook Messenger. Okay. We do a check-in daily. There's about 10 of us in the chat to make sure we provide support to you for training. We provide all the supplies as well to the dogs, so the crate, the food, the beds, the toys, everything will come with it. And the dogs, we take care of the vet billing while they are in care with ITAB.
So, Krista, obviously, you know, all of this takes money. Your funding comes, is it private donations exclusively?
We do a ton of fundraising.
Okay.
Ton of fundraising.
I know that, Marie-Claude, that's something you're passionate about, is putting on events. Tell me about some of the events you've put on and if you have any upcoming ones.
Okay, so I will do some paint nights also, and the paint nights can either be, they're typically for a fundraiser for the dogs, but we've recently done one for a team building activity for a hockey team. So if you're looking, or Christmas parties, if you're looking for different activities for Christmas parties, we can do the paint night, the murder mystery evenings. We have one coming up in Orleans. in November. We have a paint night coming up as well. We do nail trims, so we'll go at different stores like Pet Value, for example. We'll do paint nail trims. People can come in with their dogs or cats, and it's just a walk-in. We have a photo shoot, so Santa photo shoot coming up in November, the Santa parade, and in February we're going to have a huge casino night.
Nice.
So look for the details for that. It's coming out.
You guys keep busy then.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Well, 93% of the last year, 93% of the expenses were vet bills. So
Right.
we need to keep going to be able to pay for like their shots, spay, neuter, microchips, just the checkups. We've had amputations, emergencies.
Right, of course. I noticed, and our viewers probably noticed, this little one here has a little bit of a cherry eye, it's called. What is that exactly?
Cherry eye, it's going to get operated, it's going to get fixed when she gets spayed.
Okay.
What's cherry eye exactly?
So it's just, something from underneath the eye. It needs to be stitched back in so it doesn't pop out anymore. It's nothing serious.
Nice. How has the process been going so far? Like, are you looking for more volunteers, especially when it comes to the fostering side of things?
Yes, we're always looking for volunteers, especially fosters, because the more fosters we have, the more lives we can save. We cannot take a dog into our care until we have a foster that says, yes, I'll take this dog, because it's all done within our homes, right?
Right.
We also need volunteers, like for baked goods, to sew things that we can sell. That's another way we raise money. And also to come and help out at the events. Because we cover from Orleans, Brockville, Renfrew, sometimes we need drivers to drive supplies from one area to the other. So that's always needed, the volunteers for everything. Some of us spend many hours, like 40, 60 hours a month. Some people, it's a couple hours a month. That will take anybody who can help. You choose how many hours you can help. And funding, again, the funding to be able to pay for the vet bills.
Right, yeah, of course. Krista, as far as, matching up a dog to a family or an individual, I guess you work with the individuals and families to make sure that, hey, this dog might be, a little more active than another, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so we have an adoption team that screens all the adoption applications, and then the adopter will meet with the foster and the foster dog, and then we tell them, be upfront as possible with all the details about the dog, all the good and bad.
Right. Yeah, no, it absolutely makes sense. So for events, Marie-Claude, if people want to find out, when the next event coming up, is all that available on the website?
Most of it on our website or on our Facebook. We will post it often. We try to have a QR code that you can just easily take a picture, and then it brings you to a form to register. If you are not sure, just send us an email, and we'll be happy to provide all the information.
Nice. And we should mention as well that every dog comes with that kit.
Yes.
Right?
A foster kit.
So that you're ready to go right off the bat. You don't have to sort of, be nervous that you don't have everything necessarily prepared. Oh my goodness.
And also training. So there's a support on the chat, but we're also linked with Pet Academy that can also help provide support. So the fosters, although they're alone in their home, we're there supporting them to help with behavior issues, training issues, anything.
You can find out more at ittakesAvillagerescue.com. We'll be back with more right after this.
Kids these days, people say we lack initiative.
And technology, that we're all addicted.
Kids these days, we hear that we only care about ourselves. Apparently, we're lazy.
And don't seem to have any sense of independence.
Actually, kids these days are facing a lot. Because the world has changed, and so have our health issues. Kids these days, we could really use your help. Join CHIO in our biggest fundraising campaign ever to transform pediatric care.
This week on Canada Files, Dr. Tak Mak. His groundbreaking discoveries changed the course of cancer research and pioneered immunotherapy, which many see as the greatest weapon in the fight against cancer.
Public transit, garbage pickup, parks and recreation programs, snow removal on your street. How can you stay informed about these and other important local services? Tune to City Council coverage on Rogers TV. See your community leaders at work on Rogers TV City Council coverage.
Hello, I'm Liz Dowdswell, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. In 2008, carbon monoxide, a deadly invisible gas, killed an entire family in our province. That tragedy led to a new law requiring homes with potential CO sources to have alarms. John Gignac's family members passed away that day, and he shares his story to save others.
Please make sure you have working CO alarms in your home. Protect your family today.
Learn all about the creation of the National Capital Region on The History of Ottawa, according to Phil Jenkins, on Rogers TV.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
Not all olive oils and balsamic vinegars are created equal, and I can tell you that from experience because my next guest has just sourced the best of both of those worlds. Mike George is the owner of Aurelius Fine Oils and Balsamic Vinegars, joining me here on the show. Welcome back. Great to have you here.
I'm pumped to be here and excited to show you what we got this time.
This is a fascinating story. I'd like to start off talking about your service, Mike, and I know we're going to do a little tasting here, but you were 11 years in Special Forces. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
So I joined Special Forces in 2007 in order to get involved with what was going on in the world, and was able to get a few tours to Afghanistan, Mali, Jordan, Jamaica, a few other spots as well. So I was able to, get out there and try to make a difference.
And then in 2018, you left the forces because you wanted to open this store. But what prompted you to get into olive oils and balsamic vinegars in particular?
It's totally a 180 degree in terms of career path. My family lives in Italy, my French-Canadian family, and they moved to Rome in 1961. And then never came back to Canada. But my mom did come back for university and stayed here. So that was my connection, and I just started bringing olive oil from a small community mill, extra virgin, really artisanal, awesome product, to Ottawa in 2016. And I actually did it for 2 years, selling it to restaurants like Riviera, North and Navy in 18. For 2 years while I was still working. And then I decided to get out of the military in 2018 to open up my shop to actually make this a viable option.
I mentioned that olive oils and balsamics aren't created equal. Let's start with olive oils, and you and I have talked about this before, but there's a lot on the market that aren't really true to what, real olive oil is, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. The thing is, once you get educated a little bit and you know what to look for on labels and you could taste, then you'll be better equipped to make a proper decision. And if you want, we could kind of get into it. So this olive oil is an extra virgin olive oil. This is our cream of the crop, our early harvest. It has really nice grassy and bitterness to it and a nice peppery finish. Right. So if you go ahead and taste it.
And I remember your rule of be very careful not to do it as a shooter.
That's right.
Because it'll hit the back of your throat and it'll cause a little bit of a cough.
The pepperiness almost had me walking off stage last time. So really nice grassy notes for sure. Has some bitterness, and then that peppery finish is kicking up, and I'm being careful now, eh?
Yeah, no, me too.
So we're going to keep that aside because I want you to try the next. And you've had this before, but just to recap, this is a 3-year-old balsamic that's aged in oak. It's from a small production that we found, my wife and I, when we were traveling in Italy, and we found them, we called them, and we said, hey, can we bring over some of your products to Canada? So you won't find this elsewhere in North America. Same with this early harvest. That's why these are extremely special. So give that a try.
Yeah.
Really nice depth of flavor. Wow. Again, aged 3 years in oak. Now do me a favor, put a bit of the oil into that balsamic.
All right.
And then just swirl it around a bit.
Okay.
And you don't feel like you have to take the whole shot.
Right, right.
Normally we want more oil than balsamic, but I just want you to taste both of them together, a little mini sip. And that really works. I always say they're great individually, but when you pair them, complementary flavors together really enhance it.
Unbelievable. At any given time, how many different styles of oils and balsamics do you have now?
So in our shop, we have up to 50 different flavored oils and balsamics.
Wow.
This is our highest end product, which is exclusive to us that we bring in. Right. But we do have some seasonal products which are really fun. And I brought today the sage and onion olive oil.
Oh my goodness, you can smell it right away.
Herbaceous. You know, this is awesome for any kind of soups and creams. Use it on stuffing for turkeys, would have been amazing.
It would be perfect for that.
And then I pair this with the cranberry pear dark balsamic. So taste a bit of this. This is amazing. You could really have that nice cranberry taste. And then pour a bit of that into your oil and do that same swish.
What a change, right? When you mix them together, it's a beautiful.
And then dip a little piece of bread, and then you'll see that's amazing.
Okay.
Put this in stuffing. Roasted potatoes would be awesome, and any kind of cream soup would be fun as well.
Mm. Oh my goodness, that's good. So, Mike, I don't want to run out of time before we get to something that's very near and dear to your heart. Very important part of this segment is that you're going to be giving back proceeds from November 1st to the 11th to a great organization.
That's right. So being a proud veteran-owned business, I really want to support those who make actual change in people's lives, and very familiar with a group called Warrior Adventures Canada, and they're actually serving members from my old community, and the biggest difference is that they're peer-led. It's not civilians that are organizing and running activities. It's actual soldiers who have done stuff and been there and done that. So it's very easy to relate. And what they do is they bring groups on basically therapeutic adventure training, where they bring people on hard canoe trips, let's say, so people bond over hard times and are able to relate peer to peer. And they've been having making a huge impact on people with PTSD and mental health issues.
Amazing.
And then doing these trips for the last maybe 6 years almost. So I'm really proud to try to support them, and we're going to donate at a minimum 5% of proceeds from sales from the 1st to the 11th, which is kind of that remembrance period.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, holidays are, I know, listen, I know it's still only October, but the Christmas stuff is everywhere right now already, right? In all the department stores, and you've got some great gift ideas here, right?
Absolutely. So, you know, why give a bottle of wine when you could give a bottle of oil? Be a little bit different, be unique. It's something that everyone can appreciate it. We have different price points from $20 little mini gifts to $60, $70 price range. If you come to the store, it's a beautiful shop. You can taste test everything, which is also great. And you could certainly find a great hostess gift or a foodie gift in the store to mix to get what you need.
You've had a great spring, summer, into the fall. I keep running into you at events. What has that been like for you? What sort of feedback have you been getting at events?
We're trying to get the word out there, because once you taste the products, it's a game over situation. You're going to be hooked for life, just like you know. And
he's not wrong.
We're trying to get out there, right? And we work with a lot of the best restaurants in Ottawa, but we also want to know that we can't necessarily give cash to help causes, but we can give our time and sampling, and that's what we're trying to do.
Just down the road in West Wellington Village, 1283B Wellington Street West. I'll tell you more about it at the end of the show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
Welcome to Community News and Events on Rogers TV. I'm Ramon DeFranco. Ottawa's O-Train Lines 2 and 4 are in the final testing phase and could be open to the public as early as mid-November. Line 2 will expand to Line Bank from Greenboro, adding 16 kilometers, while Line 4 will extend 4 kilometers to the airport, and this is part of Stage 2 of the LRT. The new lines will almost triple the length of light rail in the city. If you prefer getting around by car, then you can enjoy the annual Magic of Lights Ottawa. Visitors drive through the nearly 2-kilometer route, where they are treated to an array of themed light displays, classic holiday scenes, and animated displays, and an enchanted tunnel of lights. It starts November 11th at Wesley Clover Parks. Watch Move and Improve weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Rogers TV 22.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
Welcome back to the show. Excited to have my next guests on because they are a great team in partnering up with the annual calendar of hope and proceeds going to a great cause. I'm joined by artists Katerina Mertikas and Gina Mertikas La Victoire, artist and calendar creator, I guess I would say, right,
yes,
Gina?
That's right.
Welcome. It's
Thank
great
you.
to have you both here.
Thank you.
Katerina, I want to start with you because I've had you on the show before, and I'm sure people tuning in, they will recognize your art, but tell everybody at home a little bit about yourself, your artistic background.
Oh, about myself. I've been painting for over 35 years. Everyone's well aware of that, I think. I'm very happy that I can still do it on a full-time basis. And now that we also went into the calendar, that's very meaningful to me because it's also for a very good cause and reason. So that just brings my art to me more home and to heart, and I love painting. And I brought you a little Halloween piece to enjoy our season this year.
Nice.
Coming up. And you know, I do a lot of winter pieces.
Yeah.
I have a puzzle coming out, or it's out now, Ravensburger, my Canadian series. Also Christmas chocolate advent calendar. So my art still sells as art, and then it has expanded into other things as well. And I even did some little ornaments that sometimes I sell at the galleries.
That is a great idea.
Some of them are just Canadian hockey players, and I'm having a show in Ottawa, November the 9th. I'd like to promote that show, and I will be there noon to 4 at Koyman Galleries.
Beautiful galleries, by the way, if you haven't been. And your paintings always stand out at that gallery,
We've been together for over 30 years. It's been fabulous.
Nice, nice. Gina, let's talk a little bit about how this calendar all came to be.
So this calendar was the first year we created it was 2018. So in 2017, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And after all my treatment was done, and I said I need to give back to the hospital in some way. So I partnered with my mom, and so she gave us the rights to all the paintings for every single month. And since 2018, we're now into 2025, we've been raising money for clinical trials at the Ottawa Hospital.
Amazing.
So cancer clinical trials, which are really going to be hope for the future.
Yeah,
because that's what we need. Yeah.
What was your journey like, Gina? I mean, you know, it's difficult not only for you, but of course your family around you. I know your family quite well over the years now. Tell me about what those times were like.
So that was 8 years ago now, and I was a young mom. I was 34 years old, so with no family history, with no reason, and it just kind of came out of nowhere. But as soon as you hear news like this, you can either go fight or flight, right? So I fought, and I continue to still go to the Ottawa Hospital. I deal with you never fully leave this situation that you're in, and but that's why giving back to me really means so much, because the hospital that took such good care of me really deserves to have some type of thanks, and this is my way of saying thank you, and the money that we raise will help future cancer patients.
Well, and we're so fortunate to have the hospitals that we have here in our community. I can imagine the care that you received was world-class.
It's world-class care, and it's in our own backyard. So yes, we have everything that we need here in Ottawa. I've said to someone, oh, should I go to the States for my treatment? And someone says, no, you have standard care in Ottawa, which would be the same in the States, and it's world class. So the money that I'm fundraising for is for clinical trials. So to try new drugs, for new hope, for new, the future. And a couple trials have been created because of the calendar.
Nice.
So we actually have changed standard breast cancer care around the world because of the calendar.
That's an incredible
So it really makes
achievement.
a difference, and it's my little small contribution.
I think it's bigger than you know. And Katerina, you've lived through this with Gina. I mean, for yourself, you're a mom, and you're watching your daughter go through something so difficult. Take me back to that time and what that was like.
Well, it's hard to go back to that one because that was a shock. And it kind of, for me, it never left me. The shock never left me, but I'm very happy that she can do this, and I'm happy that I can still paint. Because the first year, I took me a few months to go back to painting.
Really?
Yeah, it was very difficult. I just didn't see any joy, really. But when I saw her get better and the treatments were good, I had to do it because it also brings back normalcy. And don't forget, she has 3 children.
Yeah.
We have to bring normal back to life.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't survive sometimes. You can go deep depression, or you can just keep plugging along with some setbacks. And I'm happy. And like the Ottawa Hospital just sent out a big email last week, updates on breast cancer. And Dr. Seeley, who is the big shot there, she talks about all of this. And the last picture is a picture of Gina, where she said, meeting Dr. Clements, her oncologist, the first time she said, he made me laugh, so it takes away the fear. He literally made us laugh, which is hard to say this. Yeah, he commented on how I looked, if I looked depressed, or if her husband didn't talk too much. So he just brings it back, and he said to her, you know, what you have, I'll cure you. And then he participated in a fashion show that the Daughters of Penelope, who you've had on, did at Shepherd's, and he walked the runway. And he said, I'm here to save women and young moms. He goes, so please, you know, contribute, and it actually goes to him. So he's fabulous.
Well, every year, you know, clinical trials are really bringing hope for the future. There's new drugs from 8 years ago to now. It's unbelievable. It's even a completely different.
Well, and how often do we get to say the pleasure of saying breast cancer survivor?
Of course,
right?
yeah,
and,
exactly.
You know, you go back 2 decades ago, and it was completely different than we see today.
Everything is different. Even the type of cancer you have now is really, there's targeted immunotherapies.
I didn't know there were names for it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
You become an expert whether you want to or not. There's names, and then there's cures for this one and cures for that. So I am very grateful. And yes, we did speak with another physician in Montreal who's an oncologist, and he said to her, you are in the best care with Dr. Clements. He is the top in Canada. What he's doing, I would do, and this is what you would get in the States. So we're very happy.
November 9th, right?
9th.
12 to 4 p.m.
Come and see me. I'll be there.
Coleman Galleries at 1771 Saint Laurent Boulevard, and that runs through the rest.
Another 2 weeks right till Christmas.
Oh,
I'm there all the time.
And they can pick this up, Gina, online as well?
They can, the hospital will have a link, and there'll be a link that they'll put through the hospital, or they can email me directly.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you both
Thank you so much for having us.
Really appreciate it. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Daytime right after this.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
It's a new season of The New Fly Fisher on Rogers TV.
Get front row seats to Music and Beyond's unforgettable summer festival. Experience world-class concerts, mesmerizing performances, and much more. Music and Beyond presents a new season on Rogers TV.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
Welcome back to the show, back to talk about the theater, and you know how passionate I am. I grew up a theater person, and we are so fortunate in this city to have so many opportunities to see great theater, and you're going to be shocked because when you go, you're going to say to yourself, this is professional theater, and it's all run by volunteers, and they do such a wonderful job on stage and, of course, in the background putting things together. And the latest production of Canada Theatre is coming up here to tell us more about it. I'm joined by Megan Lemarquand and Lindsay Keane. Welcome to the show. Great to have you both here. The latest production, Dangerous Liaison, and I think, Lindsay, many people recognize that name right off the bat, but for those that aren't familiar, what is this production about?
Dangerous Liaisons is a fantastic and evil drama about two French aristocrats pre-revolution in those good old times who have nothing to do in their lives except make other people's lives miserable. And they find immense entertainment in that. So we have our two leads, Martoy and Valmont, who spend their time kind of interfering in the lives and affairs of others to gain kind of pleasure from that. And so we watch their story here unfold as they interfere with the lives of some innocent people. If people have seen the movie, they'll be very familiar with the story, and it is really a drama that people don't want to miss.
Nice. Megan, tell me about your character. What role do you play?
I play the Marquise de Merteuil, so one of the chief villainesses. She, like Lindsay was saying, she's a part of the nobility, recently widowed through seemingly suspicious means, and now has control of her own life and her own destiny, and she takes great pleasure in creating drama and seducing her way through half of the population.
How did you come to Canada Theatre in the first place?
Myself, I came after COVID lockdown kind of ended. I was really itching to get into something, anything really, and Canada Theatre, I'm very lucky. It's just down the street from me.
Oh, nice.
And I came to it through the production of Opening Night, which they did a couple of years ago.
Did you have a theatrical background?
Yeah, I actually worked professionally in Toronto for about 12 years and before I moved to Ottawa.
Well, aren't we fortunate to have you here? My goodness, that's amazing. Thank you for coming to Ottawa.
Please, thank you.
Lindsay, what about yourself? What is your theatrical background?
Yeah, I've been acting in community school productions for about 10 years now, musical theater and plays primarily. This is my first show with Canada, which is really exciting, and I've just loved the community that's been built here. I wasn't expecting to come out for this show. I wasn't able to audition, but I got a call from Sarah, the director, and she said, we need somebody. Are you interested, maybe? And I said, absolutely. It just kind of felt like fate. So I've been really enjoying my first experience with the company.
Nice.
It's great.
So what role do you play?
I play Madame de Tourvel. So she's a younger innocent who kind of gets caught up in these games. She's the young wife of a diplomat, and she kind of gets caught up in this love affair with the main man, Monsieur de Valmont. So she's kind of caught up in their games and unfortunately meets quite a sad end in kind of discovering all these terrible things that occur to her. But she's really a wonderful, wonderful role to play. It's very meaty.
Megan, Lindsay, sort of described the era and when this all happened. So how do you bring that to life in the set and the costumes to stage?
We were actually really fortunate yesterday. We got to see all of the costumes for the first time. We got to put them all on. It was actually gorgeous. They've all been handmade by our costume designer. Huge effort, gorgeous work. The fabrics, the cuts, the jewelry, the hair pieces. It's incredibly elaborate. It's incredibly exquisite, and it really sets the tone for the kind of decadence and drama that you're going to see.
Right. Yeah. Does that help you when you finally get the costuming and some of the stage pieces start coming on, Lindsay? Does that begin to really help you get into that character?
Especially when this is happening centuries ago. You know, the language is different, the way you stand is different. Having those costume pieces, it forces you to sit and move a different way, and that really helps kind of the older dialogue and kind of these, kind of social standards that we don't really meet anymore. Having those furniture pieces and costume and makeup really helps get into that old character.
Megan, what's the time commitment been like? I mean, you're both young. I'm guessing you're working and doing this, of course, volunteer on the side. What has that been like?
It is a time commitment. We do meet about 3 times a week for about 3 or 4 hours at a time, and we've been working on this since the summertime, since about early August. Wow. So it has been a commitment, but I mean, if you love it like we both do, and I think everyone in our cast really does, us, and everyone in the crew and everyone who has volunteered their time, we all really love it. We all really want to be there, and so it doesn't feel like a burden.
Right. But you have to balance everything. Lindsay, how do you go about balancing that and your other, life commitments?
It's a lot. We're both students, and we're both working and doing this on top of things. It's a lot of making sure my calendar is pristine. I'm very lucky to have good professors who are very accepting and helpful and able to accommodate some things, move some projects around, and are very supportive and want to come see the show as well. So as long as you can reach out, and people like to support community theater in those little ways too.
I imagine you're making fast friends too, right? You're meeting people that you've never met before. I imagine you've formed friendships that will probably be lasting friendships now, right?
It's kind of a great environment to be in because you don't get to meet people who share your very niche interests often and get to spend as much time as we have together. Not since school, where you're kind of forced into this environment where you all are focused on this one thing. So it's been great. You meet a lot of people you might not have previously, and I do believe, I have a lot of friends from other productions that are still
absolutely, and the trust that's necessary, right? I mean, all of a sudden you get this automatic trust system. Thanks to you both. Really appreciate your time today. Dangerous Liaison at the Ron Maslin Playhouse, November 6th to the 16th. Make sure you get your tickets because they will sell out quickly. CanadaTheatre.ca to get your tickets and find out the full schedule and more information. We'll be back with more Daytime right after this.
Welcome to Community News and Events on Rogers TV. I'm Vera Scoltetti. Ottawa's O trains line 2 and 4 are in the final testing phase and could be open to the public as early as mid-November. Line 2 will expand to Limebank in Greenboro, adding 16 kilometers, while Line 4 will extend 4 kilometers to the airport. This is part of Stage 2 of the LRT. The new lines will almost triple in the length of the light rail in the city. If you prefer getting around by car, then you can enjoy the annual Magic of Lights Ottawa. Visitors drive through the nearly 2-kilometer route where they are treated to an array of themed light displays, classic holiday scenes, animated displays, and an enchanted tunnel of lights. It starts November 11th at Wesley Clover Parks. Watch Move and Improve weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Rogers TV Channel 22.
All right, welcome back to the show. Let's wrap things up by discussing a few of the things we chatted about on today's show. Let's start with Katerina Mertikis and her daughter Gina. Don't forget, Katerina's art show is coming up at Koyman Galleries. That is November the 9th. It kicks off 12 to 4 p.m. It's located at 1771 Saint Laurent Boulevard, but running, I believe it's until November 23rd. So a couple of weeks to go down there and look at some of her beautiful pieces. And again, if you want to pick up a copy of the calendar, you can't make it down there, visit the Ottawa Hospital's website. You can find out how to purchase that online. Mike George from Aurelius Fine Oils and Balsamic Vinegars. He's just down the street here in West Wellington Village, 1283B Wellington Street West. From November 1st to the 11th, he's going to be donating a minimum 5% of the proceeds to a great cause, and that is to the Warrior Adventures Canada organization, helping veterans, of course, battling through some of the things and challenges that they've gone through. And a reminder, Dangerous Liaison by Christopher Hampton, Ron Maslin Playhouse through Canada Theatre, CanadaTheatre.ca. November 6th to 16th is the run. We'll see you next time here on Daytime.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Hey everybody, my name is Karen. I'm here with my best friends Shane and Monique. Join us on Rogers TV for Fitness Faction. Every week we're going to take you through a full body workout. We've got strength training, we've got cardio, we've got HIIT. Ladies, let's get back into it.
I think we've got 10 more skaters. Let's go.
After a night out with your friends, not having a plan for a safe ride home can leave you in a bad spot. You could end up riding in a police car